What's going on, my good people? It's your boy Jay Fry. Today we're outside in our backyard garden where we're going to pretty much plant everything in April that we're going to plant. We're going to uppot a few volunteer plants, and we're also going to start our pest protection. So hang out with your boy for a minute and check it out. Alright, so it's April here in Texas, Zone 8B, where we pretty much get an extended growing season. So some of the crops that I'm planting today, I will be planting twice. Alright, so let's go ahead and plant some of our transplants, direct sow some seeds, and upplant some free volunteer plants. So the first thing we're going to plant are these brimmer tomatoes right here that I have. I got a total of 9 of them right here. They all won't go in this bed. I'm only going to put a couple in this bed because I do have more tomato plants that I had to restart. So I'm hoping to plant those a little bit later so I can use this trellising deal. Now these tomatoes and the other one, they're all indeterminate tomato plants. So that's why I want to use this new trellis system that I have right here. And I have a couple of more that are not indeterminate, so I'll put those in other places. So I've been growing these for a while. I don't know if they root bound or not. They don't look like it, but the roots look pretty healthy to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and place them where I'm gonna put them at. So the whole idea, I'm gonna put one here, so I got 2 strings here, and then I'm gonna actually get the healthiest ones and put in this bed, and the other ones I'll put them in the ground. So I am gonna plant these pretty deep, as I did add some fresh soil to it, and I'm also gonna be using some tomato tone since I hadn't fertilized or nothing like that. So because I'm going pretty deep with them, of course you know I'm just gonna pull those stems off. And if I go any deeper than that, I actually could pull these off as well with these suckers on it, but let's see how far that goes. So you know what, I guess I will go ahead and plant one right here, and then I'll save those spaces down there for something else. All right, so I'm also gonna be putting 2 more of the same variety of tomato plants in the ground right here. So I have 2 in the raised bed. I'll put 2 here, and then the other ones, I don't know, I may put them in a pot or something and give them to somebody because I want to save room for the other varieties that I have. Guess this soil is doing okay. Got little worms in there. So this is only the second year that I've had this, or the beginning of the second year that I've had these in-ground spaces, and the soil hadn't been worked as much. So I'm just taking some in-ground used all-purpose soil that I'm going to put in here. Matter of fact, to kind of help it out a little bit, because I notice it's still a bunch of clay, and I've only tilled this up, I believe, 1 time. So we'll do it like that. This one is still kind of clay or whatever. All right, so check it out. We got our first 2 brimmer tomatoes planted. We got 1 brimmer tomato here, and I went ahead and added some basil in the middle of this one and another brimmer tomato. So the whole plan is, I got those 2 brimmer tomatoes. I want them to go up this Vego Garden trellis that I have right here. And then once my other tomatoes become ready, I'll put them on this side. And also, so for the in-ground tomatoes, I got 2 more brimmer tomatoes planted in-ground right here with another basil in between there. So these are some old trellises that I have right here, and I just put a bamboo stick down the middle. I'll tie all that in here in a minute after I water everything down. So all right, so the next thing that we're gonna plant is gonna be these block peppers right here. I have a total of 4 block peppers, so I'm gonna put 2 of them in this raised bed and 1 in the ground, and 1 I'll put in the pot. So it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these put in the ground. Let's see how the roots look real quick though. So those not looking too bad. They could have stayed in there a little bit longer, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull that one out. And I just messed this one up, so this one is gonna get planted in the ground. Yeah, so they had a little bit more time left to grow in in this pot. But let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and get these planted before it start raining too hard. So the same thing that I did with tomatoes, I'm pretty much using this on all of the fruit that grows. Any plant that grows fruit, I'm going to be using this year. This tomato tone. I think it works pretty good. What is this? A 3-4-6, and it should help from it should help to keep the tomatoes and the peppers from blossoming and rising. Hopefully that'll help. And then I actually think on tomatoes too, that if you plant them, not tomatoes, bell peppers, these black peppers, if you plant these pretty deep, they'll start to root too. So I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out on one of them. All right, so I got my black peppers in. So I put 2 in this raised bed. The third one I put in another raised bed. I didn't want to put one in the ground. And the last thing that I'm gonna be planting so far that I had growing, now these are our Vego Garden jumbo cells. This here is the eggplant. So I'm just gonna put 1 eggplant right here in this bed. So these get pretty good. So I think I'm gonna I'm gonna space it. I'm gonna put it right in the middle and save room for other things. But I also have, these are eggplants as well, I believe. Well, these 2 are eggplants. I'll just chop these off and I'll put these somewhere else. And I'm not even sure what those were. I think I just planted some seeds there. So I'll just plant them somewhere else too. Now this thing right here, I don't know if this variety, I did the Black Beauty last year. Now this is a different variety. The Black Beauty, it grew pretty big and it pretty much needed a trellis. So I think eventually I'm gonna get another one of these and put it on this side. But I'm gonna find like one of them little trellis cages and a rod to put in here as well for this one. All right, so we got a few of our transplants planted today. We was able to get some of the tomatoes, bell peppers, and the eggplant planted. Now, before we do any direct sowing, I want to go ahead and plant the last of the transplants that I'm going to plant right now. And these are the ones that I want to go ahead and start protecting early from the pest. I've already seen a couple of baby grasshoppers out here, so I see it starting to rain a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and get those planted pretty quick, and then we'll move on to what we're going to direct sow. And actually, this is a good time to be outside planting what you're going to plant. We are expecting heavy rain over the night and tomorrow, so that's going to work out real well for me. All right, so the rain has passed for now, so I got a little bit of time before we get more rain. I did go ahead and continue to plant what I had to plant. Like I said, I had one more set of seedlings that I needed to go ahead and plant. I planted them pretty heavily, and I wanted to go ahead and start my pest protection because I did see a few small grasshoppers already while I was out here today. So let me go ahead and show you what I did. This right here is our Vego Garden raised bed. It's kind of like a modular system. You know, I was able to put the greenhouse cover system on it, and now I'm able to use this mesh netting, which also act as like a shade cloth as well. All right, so right here in this bed, if you notice, not too long ago, I did remove some chard from this corner, and I did that because I said I was going to go ahead and plant some more chard, and I want to plant these brassicas right here specifically because I figure like they'll be able to make it through the spring and maybe throughout the summer. So I hadn't watered anything in yet. I'm going to come in at the end and water everything, but here on this end I got 3 chard plants, and then I got a couple of collard greens, and then this is collard green and lacinato kale. This is the lacinato kale at the end. So I went ahead and bunched these in here pretty tight. We'll be able to do like a bunch of cut and go for these. And I went ahead and put this mesh netting over it to protect it from the pest. So check it out. These are the last of the seedlings that I have to plant. These right here, like I said, this is what the last thing we just saw, the kale, collard, and chard. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. I'll probably put them in the pot and give them away. Then behind there, let's see. Those are the Bremer tomatoes. I know I'm gonna up pot those. Maybe even put a couple of them in the grow bag, but I don't need that many Bremer tomato plants. And these tomato plants are the ones that I had to transplant again. This is a Queen of the Night, and then like an Ace 55 and a black strawberry. So today, off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and up pot these into these jumbo cells right there, and then they should be ready here in a little bit. And then inside of here, I started these peppers and the other tomatoes in the same trays. And I told you the growth was stunted. I think I had the heat mat up too high, and then it just messed them all up. But these are some jalapeno peppers, so they're not really hot. Last year, the jalapeno peppers that I had, they was too hot for me. So I found some jalapeno peppers that's not gonna be too hot. And these are some more bell peppers. I think they're just some regular bell peppers. And right here, they don't have the label on them. Those are the chili pepper seeds that I just took from the dried chili peppers from the store. And I planted the seeds and they popped up. Let's see what else. This is a purple bell pepper inside of here. Those are some more eggplants. If you saw the eggplant I planted a moment ago, that's how big they should be. I planted them all at the same time. And then these are orange bell peppers. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and plant all of these out today. Just won't be doing it on camera. You see them right here and seeing which one's gonna take off. So I'll plant them pretty close together, and whichever one is the strongest is the ones that I'll keep. So back here, these are all the store-bought. So like the basil that I already broke up, mint and oregano. I got to figure out where I want to put those. I don't want them to take over. All right, so we have 5 varieties of seeds that I want to go ahead and plant today. A few of them I'm going to go ahead and direct sow, and the rest of them I'm going to put in our seed trays. That way I can plant them later on, but I do want to go ahead and get them started. So if you're still here with me, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and help your boy grow. You know I appreciate it. So the first thing I want to plant today is going to be these heavy hitter okras. Now, for the last couple of years, the first year I planted the Clemson okra, and I really like those. I planted them 2 years in a row. So right now they're my go-to okra. Although I'm not planting them this year, last year I did the Clemson and like 2 other okras. I know I did like a jambalaya, motherland, and 1 other okra. But this year I'm gonna try these heavy hitters. So because I'm low on space, I don't wanna have okra everywhere. I'm just gonna do the heavy hitters instead of the Clemson. So if these do well, I'll continue with these. If they don't do as well as I remember the Clemson, then next year I'll go back with those. So let's go ahead and get these put in the ground. I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna plant them. It's gonna be pretty quick, then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so we have 2 in-ground rows that we started last year. So they're not the best of soil, but I have been amending them the best I can. Like I said, these heavy hitter okras, they said to go ahead and soak them for 24 hours. But I don't think I need to do that. Like I said, we're gonna get rain for the next few days. But I am gonna go ahead and do the spacing that it recommends, which is 18 inches apart. So I'm gonna do that for the simple fact, last year I planted them so close together, we didn't get as many okra as I would have liked to have had. And plus I did the different varieties that it just didn't turn out like I wanted them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and plant like 3 per 18 inches, and then I'll water them later on, then we'll see what we got. So that's how the okra seeds look. They all look alike, so if you get them mixed up, you mess around, won't know what you have. But these gonna be the heavy hitters, and that's all I'm doing this year. So I'm just dropping 3 seeds in a general area, and then I press them in. All right, so we got our heavy hitter okras planted this year. I really want to make sure that I get plenty of okra because we really utilize those pretty much just like some of the other things that I'm planting today. Now, I planted them next to the onions because they are a great companion. So the onions that I pretty much have everywhere, I will be planting in other places later on because they do help keep some of the aphids down, which is what I had problems with last year. So I'm gonna make sure to go ahead and try to keep up with the pest protection this year. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna direct sow is one of those things that I did okay with last year, and the year before I didn't do well at all. So this year, I'm hoping that I can do a little bit better because it's one of those things that I'm kind of judging on if I'm having a decent gardening year or not. So for me, I like to have a cucumber tomato salad. So that's why I got the onions everywhere doing tomatoes. So I need to have a cucumber. So that's just something that I'm gauging my garden on, is if I can go outside and pull up some cucumbers, tomatoes, and onions and make me a cucumber tomato salad, you know what I'm saying, we good to go. So let's go ahead and get these planted. I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna plant them at. Actually, I'm planting them in the same place that I did last year. All right, so these cucumbers are a little bit different than the ones I planted last year, so I'm not sure how they're gonna turn out, but it does say to plant these like 18 to 36 inches apart, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna plant 2 in between each bar. I'm not sure of the spacing. And the cucumbers are one of those crops that I said here that you can plant year round, or not year round, you can actually plant twice. So I'll plant these, and once they start to die out, I'll come here and plant a couple more pretty much in the same space. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these planted in and water. They gave me a decent amount, so I'm gonna do three here and 3 there, then we'll go from there. All right, so check it out. We got one more thing that I want to direct sow, and then 2 more things that I'm going to put in cell trays. But this right here, I hadn't planted it before. I'm going to be trying something different. It says it's a perennial for zones 10 and 11, or yeah, 10 and 11, but it will grow here in Texas zone 8B, and that is going to be this Blue Queen butterfly pea. Yeah, so I'm going to try this out. Let's check it out. This bed right here is one of the beds that I've been trying for a couple of years to make this more like a bed for my herb garden or whatever. So I have some fennel. It's been here since last year. We really don't really use the fennel. I like the way it smells, and you know, it's good to have some greenery outside. And then that's some sage. I've been having it for a couple of years, so I'll make sage bundles with that. There's a couple of other things that's growing in here, not sure what they are. I hadn't had a whole bunch of luck starting seeds inside, so maybe the seeds are old or something like that. Maybe it's the seeds. I don't know if it's the seeds or it's me, but I'm just gonna come through here, all of the old herbal seeds that I got from the pack. I'm just gonna come out here and broadcast them over here, and what grows, grows. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and plant all of these Blue Queen butterfly peas. So that's how the seeds look. They actually look like little bitty peas. So 3 to 6 inches apart. So all of these are about to go on that back row. And this is just the old wood trellis that I had. Now if it get a little bit more vigorous than that, I'll add another trellis to the back. And I'm gonna have to step in this bed for now. Ain't nothing growing. I hadn't had anything growing. And if let me see. So it's gonna plant it about a 1/2 inch deep, so that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and drop some seeds. So I got a few more seeds. I'm just gonna go drop them somewhere else, just see if they'll grow. All right, so I got the blue butterfly pea planted. I saved a couple of them. I figured I'm gonna put them probably with the Brassicas and over here with the cucumbers later on, because they are a good companion. They'll both grow and they're gonna add nitrogen. So I may put them in there with the Brassicas. But I got 3 more seeds that I want to plant into cells. Before we do that, I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to use because I didn't use it as I planted them, which is this mycorrhizal, what is that? Mycorrhizal fungi. Anyway, so I'm going to use this instead of me putting it onto the roots as I planted them. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in a watering can, and I'm going to water everything that I transplanted with this. So this is actually supposed to enhance the roots into the transplant. So I just wanted to show you guys I am going to use this. It's going to be my first time using it. Let me know down in the comments if you use this one or something like it. So I just did a little bit of research, and this is just the one that I came up with. I don't know if that's the best or not, but I went with kind of with the price and kind of with the review. So that's how I ended up with that. So I just wanted to show you guys, this is what I'm going to be watering my transplants with today. But let's go ahead and see the 3 other seeds that I'm going to plant in sale trays today. But make sure to stick around because I want to show you guys the volunteer plants that I have. And I have a couple of different varieties. Not sure exactly what they are, but they are going to be beneficial to me because I'm going to use them this year. So, all right, so check this out. These are my jumbo seed trays by Vego Garden. And these right here, these are the standard trays. I showed you earlier the tomato plants. I'm going to transplant into here. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and plant my 3 melons. So the first one I'm going to plant is this sugar dew melon. Now, I hope this is going to turn out. I don't know exactly where I'm going to plant these at yet, but I do want to go ahead and get them started. So I'm going to do 3 in this row. And then the next thing, this comes from another seed pack that I've been having for a couple of years. Hopefully it works. This is a sugar baby watermelon. And then a Jubilee watermelon. This one is pretty big too. So I know I want to plant a couple of melons today. Don't know exactly where I'm going to put them at, but I will be growing them. So let me go ahead and get these planted. So hopefully I can get at least 3 decent plants, 3 of each. Not saying I'm going to use all of them, but if I get a couple of good ones, then I'll make sure to plant them and we'll go from there. So the seeds on these Jubilees are pretty big. I probably should actually direct sow these, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna drop two per cell. And I did grow these last year and the melons were actually good. So I'm really hoping that these work out. The only thing about these, they did a whole bunch of vining before I got melons, but they actually did pretty good. And I planted these too. This was from another kit. These were my sugar babies. And I think they ended up almost looking like, I think these almost ended up looking like the black diamonds. I think they did. But if you can see that the seeds are a whole lot smaller than that Jubilee. So that's the type, I guess can kind of tell you the size of melon you might end up getting. So same thing, I'm gonna put 2 per cell on here. Oh, damn. That's gonna be pretty much it on these, so I guess I'll go ahead and do 3. The one I needed just flew away. And then that last one is that sugar dew. So I did a couple of sugar kiss melons that I took from the grocery store and planted, and they gave me something totally different. And I did a couple of cantaloupe and honeydew melons. So this time I'm gonna try these sugar dew melons. I do have a place for these, it's just not set up yet, that I know I want to plant these at. So hopefully I can get these trailers. So these are one of the things that I do want to get growing. So pretty much the same thing. Those seeds, they're not as big either, but we're gonna go ahead and plant. I want these to grow, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant 3. Now this is not a this soil mix. This is just some potting soil mix that I got from Sam's. You know, I probably should have went with some seed starter mix, but all of these seeds are decent size, so they should be able to push through. All right, so we got that done. I'll come back. I'll do this later on off of camera. I'm gonna up pot these tomato plants. I didn't even need to put this soil in here, but I did. So all right, so peep game, this bed right here, I just put together not too long ago. So I did not want to spend any money adding any soil to it or whatever. So what I did was I just took some soil out of the ground, and then I dumped the soil from my DIY compost bin from the trash can that I have been adding to for a while. And I got a few things growing up out of here. So some of the stuff I don't recognize, and others I do, and I do know some of it is weeds, but I'll get that cleaned up after today. This right here is right on time. I have some of these in the house, but let me show you guys what this is. For me, this is a sweet potato slip. So boom, can you see that? So that's a sweet potato slip right there. What I end up doing, I'm gonna put this in some water, that the roots, you know, just like if you got them in the house. I have some sweet potatoes in the house, that I need to go ahead and do this with too, but I put this in water for a couple of days and then I need to get a grow bag ready. That's a sweet potato slip, and these over here are sweet potato slips. Let me go ahead and get those up. Look at that. Nice little old worm in there. Ain't doing too bad. All right, so I got two sweet potato slips right here. Of course, we don't know what variety they are, but what I will end up doing is I'm gonna do it right now. Put those in a jar. This jar may be a little too big. Put those in a jar. I'm gonna add some water into it, then I'll get me a grow bag ready. Now, as far as these tomato plants, I don't want no tomato plants. This thing right here, I'm not sure what that is. That could be a melon, some cucumbers. We ate a bunch of cucumbers. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, I'm gonna get this one up out of here. So we'll do that just like that. All right, so it's pretty much settled. This bed right here is where I'm going to plant both varieties of the watermelon, the Sugar Baby and the Jubilee, or whatever type of watermelon I have. I'm leaving this watermelon plant here and that one that popped up. But let me show you what I pulled out of this this bed where I dumped the compost at. So this right here I showed you a second ago, this is a rose bush. So I trimmed down my rose bushes in the front of the house, and I put some of them in the compost bin. I burned some of the stems, but I'm finna replant this and we're gonna put it on the side of the house somewhere. And then we also got some sweet potato slips. So you can see the sweet potato that I put in the compost. I'm gonna let those grow out, actually just the roots, and then I'm gonna put these in water, let those grow out, and then we're gonna plant these alongside the sweet potatoes that I have in the house. But check it out, so some of the stuff I think was pretty repetitive, so I didn't pull all of it up. This could be some dill or something like that. I got plenty of dill, but that could be some dill, not sure. Maybe a squash or a zucchini and so forth. But I do have a few plants here that I'm gonna watch them grow, see what they turn into. All right, so that's pretty much it. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel. That way we'll do a garden update. We can see how all these plants turned out. If you like this video, make sure to give your boy a thumbs up. I'll holler at you.